Next question. Groud asks us. Here we go. This is a good question. In a recent episode, you were mentioning using amino acids. It came at a good moment since I was pondering stopping putting vitamins in the food I give to my NPS. It was something that was recommended to me during a frag swap. I'm using 5 drops per Q of food, of Calanus, of Brightwall's Coral VM, and then let it thaw like that till I had some tank water and spot feed it with my main water movement pump at 1%. Now it feels like it falls under the my tank looks better with it level of evidence, of confidence. When looking at the product information, there's a list of everything it contains. I do not dose it apart from the 3 times a week regime, and ICP tests every 6 months don't show any overdose of these elements in the tank. However, if I was asked to prove that it does anything at all with hard science, I would be hard pressed. So the question is, do you have an easy recipe to identify pure snake oil from products that might be doing something when it comes to additives?
That's so tricky, man, because there's so much stuff that we can put in a Reef tank that it's like, I have no idea how the hell you quantify it. And it's just, over the course of 3 months, like, yeah, I was adding that stuff for 3 months. No, this is how it goes. I was adding that stuff for like 3 months. It looked like my corals were brighter. And then I had a massive outbreak of cyanobacteria, so I quit using it. And all of that is hard to trace back to anything.
Or I ran out and quit using it, and it seems like my stuff is still doing fine.
Exactly. It's very tricky.
Sugar. How did you pronounce his name? Their name? There is no easy recipe to identify pure snake oil. Pure snake oil usually comes with a bunch of BS sounding claims, and we'll put a link to the Skeptical Reef Keeping one, and I think to the talk where I pretended I was as anywhere near being mentioned in the same breath as Carl Sagan by making a reef baloney detection kit. In the Demon Haunted World, which if you haven't read it, just go and read it. It's Sagan's book, Demon Haunted World. He makes a baloney detection kit. And so I made one for reefs, and that's all you can do. Is it covered in green speak? Does it have claims that don't make sense? Does it have claims that fly in the face of how we think reef tanks work? Does it have too much green speak? Does it have too much science speak that doesn't really seem to mean anything?
Is it claiming to do too many things that are not related at all?
So check that. We'll check out that article. We'll link it below. But there's no real easy way to identify snake oil. It's tough. And especially something, you soak your food in it and then you feed it to the tank. Well, why is it
not the food?
Why isn't that not going to just rinse off your food?
Yeah.
Right? He says he spot feeds, so there is that too. So, I don't know. I don't freaking know. That said, I dose Two Little Fishies ammo, Acro Power, and TE Plus elements from BSV.
ESV?
ESV. BSV.
Who's
the Ionic? ESV. Bob Stark. So, yeah, there's no, I don't even know what to tell you about, vitamin additions. If they're doing anything for your corals. I can't even tell if they're doing anything for your fish. So, I don't know, man. Try it. Try pull it off and not dosing it and see if you see any difference in the next 3 months.
But, yeah, that's what I was going to say. And again, these things take a long ass time to bear out. And that's what makes it so complicated. And Rich, I ask you, I want one of these next episodes. We need like a scientific literacy episode.
Well, you write that down in your paperwork and we'll do it.
Yeah.
I do want to say another thing. He says that it feels like it falls under the my take looks better with it level of confidence. So given what I know about the prices of these kinds of additives and vitamins, I think that's a fine thing to do. It's not something that's mission critical to your tank. Adding it's certainly not going to kill anything. You're certainly not having problems with it. It may be helping and you feel good about it.
and it doesn't cost that much.
Yeah, totally fine. I don't really see a problem with that. I get a real problem with stuff that costs money that you need to add every week because somebody said it was and it's expensive.
Yeah.
You need to do a Zeo version of this tank. No. That's a lot of stuff. You need to send an ICP test in for $50 every 2 weeks. Well, that's a lot. That's not just a little bit. So, the reality of being skeptical is, yeah, sometimes I do stuff because it makes me feel good. I'm spending money on it. I don't know if it's doing anything, but it makes me feel good and it's not hurting. Okay. The problem again comes with newer reefers who don't have that process, who are adding the stuff because somebody told them it makes a difference and that they have to add it. If you've been in it for a while and you can tell yourself a reason why that should be added and that makes sense to you, go for it. I'm not going to give you crap.
So in my business, as you know, a lot of times I take over systems like ailing systems. And dude, in my 743 year-long career, like seriously, like when I first show up to a tank, it's going to be a jacked up reef tank. And then I'll open the bottom and they'll have like, first of all, in my reef tanks, I don't use a lot of chemicals. They'll have like microvert and coral food. And I'll look in the tank and there's like 2 finger leathers stuck in a sea of cyanobacteria. And like, are you adding this stuff? Like, well, they said corals need to eat. And I'm like, okay, but not 2 little corals. And how much are you putting in here and how often to use it? And is it out of date? And apparently the cyanobacteria likes it. It's tricky.
Yep, it is tricky. It is tricky. Thank you for that question.